Hi, hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today we got a treat for you all. One of my favorite things to do is to go out to a new location and just to discover the stories that they have out there for us. And today I'm going to walk you through the many stories and the many sights at Manito Park. All right, we wanted to start this video out a little different this time. We have a photo here from one of our guests. It's the young lady you'll see walking around and posing as a model and taking pictures in this week's video.
Yay, Gabby, we are so proud of you, and we just want to basically just encourage you to keep going. Hey, I'm Stephanie.
I'm Kaya.
And I'm Chris.
And welcome back to the channel. Today we are in Manito Park, Spokane, Washington.
Let's take a look.
Manito Park in Spokane, Washington is absolutely beautiful, especially in August. This particular park is roughly 98 acres of just beautiful, lush gardens.
After 12 years of planning and discussing and fundraising, the Japanese garden was made possible and built. Now, you'll see later in the video, the Japanese garden was a new part of Manito Park that we weren't able to explore before because we didn't know it existed. So that was a wonderful photo opportunity that we had that day.
So that's not at all what happened. We had been out to this park multiple times, and where the entrance is to the Japanese garden is right by the parking lot. And so we had been driving past it and didn't know it was there until some friends who was joining us on this photo excursion pointed it out for us. And that's one thing I love about going to parks like this. There's always so many different things to see and so many stories. Like there's a new story under every rock. For example, one of the stories that was shared with me while I was out there this time was about the duck pond. It used to be larger, but it dried up in the summer, so they just made it smaller so that people can enjoy it year round. Back in the past, we used to rent canoes and just enjoy the water. And it kind of speaks to the history of Spokane, where this is definitely an outdoor community.
Manito Park was established in April of 1904, which was a very long time ago, or it seems like a very long time ago anyway. Manito Park started out as underdeveloped land. And now, believe it or not, it is one of the primary show places in Spokane. And guys, if you can get out and just discover this beautiful park, you will definitely agree it is definitely a show place in Spokane, Washington.
The Nishinomiya Tsutakawa Japanese Garden was completed in 1974 and symbolizes the friendship of Spokane and its sister city, Nishinomiya, Japan. And although I couldn't find definite answers on the internet, it was most likely for diplomacy. And seeing how beautiful it is in person, I think it was a great decision of them to establish this beautiful part of the park.
Yeah. Another garden within the park is the Duncan Garden. It's an extremely fertile part of the park, so much so that in the past when the park was designed and put together, they took soil from this part of the park and spread it all around the rest of the park just to help everything grow. The Duncan Garden was built and designed in 1913, but then it was redesigned in 1996, but it kept its same original formal aesthetic.
Manito Park is named one of the top 25 parks in the United States of America, and I can definitely co-sign on that. We walked from garden to flower to flower, to bush to bush, to tree. I'm telling you, pretty much everywhere you look, there is something amazing and beautiful to see and smell. And we just walked and walked, and I want to say when I looked at my Apple Watch, we had walked almost 2 miles.
The Nishinomiya Tsutakawa Japanese Garden was designed by the well-known architect Nagao Sakari, who at one time was in charge of the Imperial Palace grounds. He was enlisted in 1967.
Also, if you see here in the center of the flowers here, there's a gray fountain. That fountain was donated to the park by Mrs. Davenport. it's kind of a love story. She put it there in the memory of her late husband.
That is so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. These plants and flowers come from all across the world. So as you look at our photos, as you look at our videos, just keep in mind that these plants and flowers aren't just originated in the United States of America, but come from all over the world.
Now, Ed Tsutakawa had a big part in the Japanese garden. So, to honor him as an accolade, they named the Japanese garden after him.
All right, so I know I'm going to butcher this next name, but forgive me. I believe it's called Gazer Conservatory. Now, that was the metal building that you saw behind us right here, and it had beautiful flowers all throughout. One thing I thought was neat about it is how they kind of change it up. Every year there are different flowers, but in the conservatory, they change the flowers in there with the seasons and with the holiday. So you always get a new look when you come out to the park.
A young man named Francis Cook planned to develop home sites in the area, which honestly I think was a very good idea. He built a trolley line so potential buyers could have transportation to and from the area. This was around 1888. In 1893, there was a depression. Now, this was not the Great Depression that came later, but this was a small depression that happened, and based on economic strains and financial situations, Francis Cook did lose the land, so he lost that particular property back to the city.
In December of 2007, the Spokane Park Board approved the renaming of the Japanese garden in honor of Tsutakawa, renaming it as Nishinomiya Tsutakawa Japanese Garden.
Now, that Japanese garden was absolutely beautiful, but what you're looking at right here is another part of the park. It's a beautiful field of flowers, and the couple and the family that was with us, they shared with us that sometimes couples come out here to take their wedding photos. And it's funny when you look around the parks, there are small signs letting you know where you can take photos and where you can't take photos. I think when we entered the Japanese garden, there was a sign there that said, "No professional photography, no portrait photography." And I said to myself, well, I'm glad we're shooting landscape today.
Yeah, and I said, I didn't see that sign. I didn't even see it. All right, so I think this is really cool. Kaya actually found this fact. So there used to be a grand entrance to Manito Park, and it was really, really cool. It was an arch across the entrance, and it had colored ivy trained into the words, "See Spokane Shine," and it was so pretty. There are photos out on the web of it, and it's just this huge arch with ivy growing all over it. Now, that has since been taken down. In 1909, they did decide to do away with that particular park feature.
The Nishinomiya Tsutakawa Japanese Garden was rededicated on April 20th, 2008, after the renaming, with the planting of a flowering cherry tree, which was a commemorative gift from the Nishinomiya and Spokane sister city societies.
You know, I think it's great that this park is here. I mean, Stephanie and I, we've traveled all over the country and many other countries just in search of places to take pictures and just to enjoy the sights. And I think it's great that here in Spokane, they have this jewel in the middle of the city so you can find beauty right in your own backyard.
Absolutely lovely. Well, here's a fun fact, one that I didn't know on the various times that we've been out to Manito Park, and that was there used to be a zoo there. I know you guys can't believe that because I can't believe it either. The zoo took up 1/3 of Manito's park and was the main attraction, which I can definitely believe because everybody loves the zoo. I love to go to the zoo. And there were ostriches and kangaroos and buffalo and elk and deer and muskrat and beavers and monkeys. Believe it or not, there were polar bears and black bears and grizzly bears. I mean, just imagine it, guys. Just close your eyes and imagine it. I'm sure it was absolutely wonderful. There were even various types of birds and waterfowl, such as ducks and geese.
Another part of Manito Park that we did visit but did not catch on camera in this video was Rose Hill. Rose Hill stands at the highest point in Manito Park, and it consists of only roses. Many of these roses are new hybrids, old or antique roses.
Beautiful.
And as you can hear a trend here, we definitely did not include every view that this park has to offer. This is one of those parks you can go back many times and never seen the same thing twice. You know, I took many pictures here, and it was one of those things where Stephanie was like, "Hey, give me your 8 best shots." I was like, "Just 8?
Yeah,
I can give you 30."
Yeah, it's pretty good. That was pretty good. Yeah, this one was difficult mainly because there was so much to take photos of, and I think this is a great opportunity, especially for neophytes. So people who are learning the craft, and just turn around and there's always something to take photos of. There is a cafe on the ground as well as playgrounds, which we also did not catch on the video. The cafe is open from Memorial Day to around Labor Day from 8 to 5 p.m. And it was originally called the Peanut Shack, which was a place to buy refreshments and food for tourists and peanuts for the monkeys when Manito Park had monkeys. The last remaining parts of the zoo are a few bars, chains, and hooks lodged into rock face behind the Parkside Cafe, which used to be the Peanut Shack. So there are remnants of where the zoo used to stand, but mainly right now it is a cafe where people can enjoy refreshments and maybe some cold water on hot days.
Going back to Rose Hill, Manito Park was once named after those roses on that hill.
So this is one of my favorite shots we got out there. This is the Japanese garden that we spoke about earlier. And it was kind of like, if you ever seen, I can't remember the name of the movie where the kids open up a chest and they walk into this like majestic land. That's kind of what it was like going into the Japanese garden. We didn't expect it to be there, but when we found it, it was absolutely beautiful.
Was that The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe?
Yes,
I believe
that
so.
was Narnia.
Kai and I was just talking about that movie the other day. I love that movie. The books were fantastic. I mean, the movies were fantastic. Just absolutely wonderful. And yes, I do agree with that. One of the things I really enjoyed when we were out at Manito Park was really just the variety of photos. Right now we're in the Japanese flower garden here, and pretty much everywhere you look there was a photo. And I think you took this photo here. I just love how the bridge, the reflection in the water in the bridge is spot on. And so I thought that was absolutely beautiful.
It's funny how things work out. I saw a similar picture on Instagram just a few days earlier.
Yeah.
And when the people we were with pointed this out, I was like, wow, I was hoping I would come across an arched bridge that I can kind of emulate that picture. That's one of the ways I learn. When I see something amazing online, I make a mental note of it, and I go out there in nature and I try to recreate that shot. And this was an opportunity for me to do just that.
Awesome.
So other parts of the park and some of the parts of the park that we've already mentioned include Duncan Garden, Joel E. Ferris Perennial Garden, Gazer Conservatory, Nishinomiya Tsutakawa Japanese Garden, Rose Hill, Dahlia Garden, and Lilac Garden.
I will say I'm going to give you an E for effort, Kaya. You're doing a very good job with all those Japanese names.
Very difficult,
Very
but
good.
hits close to home.
Yeah, I told her, I said, you take that part. So these fish came out pretty good, Krishan.
Yeah, it's one of those situations to where when you see it, when you first take the picture, you don't really know what you have until you get it into Lightroom and you get to work with the picture and see what you really have. I wish we had to put a picture in here that would shown what the picture looked like before. There it is right there. That's how murky the water was. It was
it's
really
pretty
clear.
murky now.
You could see the fish through the water because it's a beautiful pond. But it was really amazing once we got it in Lightroom, was actually able to use the tools available to really make those fish pop.
So, Kaya, what would you say your favorite part of that day was?
I believe my favorite part of the day was going from garden to garden because it's really hard to choose which garden is your favorite. So really, being able to experience being there was a lot of fun, and also being able to engage with other people enjoying the garden was very nice as well.
All right, so we're coming up against our last picture here. I shot this photo, and it is absolutely lovely. I just want to tell you guys, if you haven't been out here, you really should try to come out to this area, and I think you guys would enjoy it. It's just beautiful. Well, that was the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We love what we do. We want to thank you so much for watching, and do something nice for someone today, and you can do it.
And don't forget to shine as bright as the stars in our galaxy.
And don't forget, we're just ordinary people trying to do extraordinary things.
I love it.